Hi everyone, and welcome to Silversea's inaugural webinar. I'm Huntley Mitchell, editor of Travel Weekly and host of proceedings today, and I'm joined on the couch now by Silversea Managing Director Adam Armstrong. Welcome, Adam.
Hello, Huntley. Hello, everyone.
Excellent. And later we'll also be joined by Director of Sales Steve Richards, so look out for him. Together, we'll be providing today the lowdown on all the latest in Silversea. So from new builds and brochures to tools, tips and incentives that will help you sell the cruise line effectively and with confidence. So let's get started.
Sure.
All right, so Adam, we have hundreds of agents watching right now across Australia and also overseas too. So I wanted you to first explain why Silversea decided to do a live webinar.
Well, it's our 25th birthday this year, so we thought it's time we've been doing some celebrations, and we thought it's time to get that message out to as many agents as possible. Why are we doing it today? Well, this is the first available day I could do it, because I've literally just got off the plane from Los Angeles, and I'm still awake. And it's also been just over a year since I joined the company. And I think if you were to look back to Silversea just 12, 13 months ago, you'd see a very different company from where we are today. There's different people in the business, there's new policies, new practices, new marketing material, new tools, and so on and so on. So it's a good time for us to get together and have a chat about all of that.
Okay, and you've been in the role as Managing Director for about a year, is that right?
Yeah.
What's been the highlight for you so far?
Oh, lots of highlights, and it's a very different company from where I've been for the last almost 20 years, selling much bigger ships in the contemporary and premium market. When I look back, one of my fondest memories was actually before I joined the company, but I was signed up. I went on board the flagship Silver Muse in the Mediterranean for a holiday, which was really tough, obviously, and just cruising around the Mediterranean, but getting the opportunity to meet the crew and meet some of our passengers secretly. They didn't know who I was or why I was asking all these questions, but to really get under the skin of the brand and what makes Silversea tick and what makes our guests come back time and time again. And then since joining, I've had the opportunity to sail on 3 of our other ships, again having those same conversations, albeit with a Silversea name badge on this time, talking to the crew who really make the magic happen, and talking to our guests, and our past guests, the Venetian Society members, hearing about what makes them come back to the brand so many times.
Okay, and you said before that Silversea's celebrating its 25th anniversary this year. Can you tell me a bit more about how the company got off the ground?
Yeah, sure. So 25 years, silver anniversary. We started cruising in 1994. Founded a few years earlier than that by 2 families, the Vlasov family of Monaco and the Lefebvre family of Rome. They'd been in the cruise shipping business before. Australians may remember the brand Sitmar Cruises. They were owners of Sitmar Cruises. They sold it to what was P&O Princess in the early 90s, and they very quickly decided that they wanted to get back into the cruising industry. They missed it so much. So what they came up with was a slightly different business plan from Sitmar, which was to operate small ships in the all-inclusive luxury sector of the market. And it was quite a unique proposition back then in the early 90s. What they came up with was Silversea Cruises. And with the advent of the brand, they ordered 2 cruise ships, the Silver Cloud and the Silver Wind, 2 sister ships. And the first one launched in mid-1994. Antonio Lefebvre, who founded the company, he passed on the company to his son Manfredi Lefebvre, who is now our executive chairman today, still actively involved in running the business. And we've grown from that 2-ship family back in 1994 to 8 ships today, with 5 more ships now on order.
Okay, it's nice to see there's still some family involved in the
as well. And those agents who know Manfredi know that he's very intimately involved in running the company and retaining that core DNA of the company. The Italian flair is one part, but that core DNA, which is all suite, ultra luxury, all inclusive, butlers in every suite, premium beverages included, gourmet dining included, and a crew to guest ratio of almost 1-to-1.
Okay, and obviously we're halfway through the year now, and so Silversea's been, kicking off its celebrations for its 25th year, and I was lucky enough to attend one of your breakfasts recently in Sydney, which was great. What are some of the other things that you're doing to celebrate Silversea's 25th?
Well, there are a number of groups, that we want to celebrate with. Our media partners, for one, travel agents who supported us ever since we opened in Australia 25 years ago. Agents have been supporting the brand, and one in particular has booked with us every year consistently. Then there are my team here in Sydney, and indeed our teams shoreside across the world, and then finally our crew. So we've all been celebrating and marking the occasion, but our passengers is the biggest group, our Venetian Society members. And whilst we've been having small events with everyone else, we've been having a nationwide range of events with our Venetians literally across the country, and we get on a plane to New Zealand at the weekend to go and do it in Auckland and Christchurch. Is to say thank you to our past passengers for their support, for finding Silversea, probably with the help of a travel agent, probably with some travel agents that are watching today, finding Silversea, getting on board, enjoying it, coming back time and time again. Okay.
How would you describe Silversea's brand DNA, if you could sum it up in just a few words? Obviously you were talking before about the importance of the family element, but just a few words.
There's, as I said, there's a list of all-inclusive, all-suite, butlers in every suite, fine wines, fine food, 1-to-1, almost 1-to-1 guest to crew ratio. But the two words that Manfredi told me in his office in Monaco 13, 14 months ago were whispered luxury. And they really, when you boil all of that down and describe Silversea cruises, we offer a whispered luxury experience. And it means exactly what it says. It's a quiet, understated, muted luxury. It's not a flashy, opulent luxury setting on board. It's more informal, casual, restrained, muted. And that's the sort of luxury holiday that Silversea offers. And that's the sort of holiday that appeals to a great many Australian and Kiwi cruisers.
Okay. Let's talk about your passengers. What does the typical Silversea cruise passenger look like?
Well, we call them guests, not passengers.
Nice.
So our Silversea guests today, we've got the large majority of our guests are baby boomers, and we've still got some older guests in what's sometimes referred to as the silent generation. Mm-hmm. But our heartland is guests in the baby boomers group. They're well travelled, they're well off, they're curious, they travel long distances, and they like to see the world at large. And what did you say? How have they changed?
Yeah, I wanted to also get an insight into how they changed over the last 25 years since the company started.
They've certainly got younger, but when I say younger, we're not talking 20s and 30s. We're still, in our 40s, 50s, and 60s. That's our heartland. So they've certainly got younger, but their traits remain largely the same. One thing I would say that's changed is we've transitioned from the silent generation post-war to the baby boomers. Is their intrepidness, and rather than wanting to be tourists but sit back and observe cultures and society from afar, our guests today, the baby boomers, they really want to get up close and personal, have that authentic experience, that people-to-people experience. And so we see a transition in the onshore experiences of our guests over that period, in terms of what they want to do when they get to a port. Do they want to go on an excursion, do something independently? That's probably the key change, as well as a gradual reduction in age over the years. Okay.
Let's talk about the current numbers at Silversea. Can you tell me how many guests have sailed with the cruise line since 1994?
Yes, so over those 25 years, we've carried just over 500,000 guests. Wow. On over 4,500 voyages over that time. So there's plenty of people and plenty of Venetians in our society.
Yeah, wow. And how many days has the longest Silversea guest sailed with the cruise line from Australia?
Well, I'm not allowed to mention her name, but Our longest cruising guest has cruised over 1,000 nights with us so far, and we have several more that are just about to hit the 1,000 nights mark, which is a very strong commitment to the brand. They're spending hundreds and this person thousands of nights on board with us, and overseas and in the Americas, we have some guests with 4,000 and 5,000 nights of cruising with us.
Oh wow, okay. Let's talk a bit more about current trends.
Yeah.
I recently attended a conference and there was someone from Clear speaking, and they touted expedition cruising as the next big thing in cruising. Why do you think that is?
I would just add that it's the next little thing in cruising, next big little thing in cruising.
Okay.
Because it's true that expedition cruising is growing significantly, and it's getting a lot of big publicity. A lot of great new ships being built by us and by some of our competitors who I'm sure are watching here today. Hello to you too. We're all building new ships, but we are building small ships. And expedition, if you think of cruising, think of holiday market as this big globally. Cruising is about this big, if not smaller. Luxury is about this big, and then expedition luxury is less than a rounding error. So whilst you see a lot of brands building new ships, in the grand scheme of things, the holiday and cruising market, it's quite small, but it's quite exciting. It's quite a growing, energetic area of the industry. It's a good part of the industry to be in because people are genuinely moving into that space, as in guests, as in our customers. Mm-hmm. And it's a bit of a mixture between existing cruise guests who are looking to do something a little bit different. They've already bought into the category and they understand how ships work and all that good stuff, but they're looking for something a bit more off the beaten track. Okay. And then the more interesting thing, arguably, is that we're getting a lot of newcomers to cruising coming in at that expedition end, at that pointy end, at that real more obscure end of the cruising industry, for want of a better word. They've never been on a cruise before, never been on had a ship experience before, but they're coming to go and do Antarctica or the Galapagos or the Kimberley or the Arctic because it's the best and only way to do it. They're coming into cruising through the expedition space, and that's really encouraging. And perhaps we can persuade them to come into the more classic ships as well as they move through their life cycle. Sure,
okay. And how is Silversea looking to capitalise on what you call the next big little in cruising?
Well, we launched our expedition operation 11 years ago, so we've been at it for over a decade. We've now got 4 ships in the expedition fleet. Some of them we've acquired, others we have converted ourselves. So our first ever ship, Silver Cloud, we converted her to an ice-class expedition ship 2 years ago, and we're going to do her sister ship next year. But we've already announced we've got a new build Silver Origin, our new Galapagos ship, purpose-built for the expedition space, purpose-built for the Galapagos. She launches in July next year. And we have many more exciting plans that we haven't released yet publicly to grow the expedition space.
Okay. Luxury cruising also appears to be experiencing a moment of rapid growth. What do you think you can put that down to?
Well, we're building ships in the luxury space, so there's certainly a supply aspect to the growth. But I think there is a growing demand for this type of holiday. There's growing affluence in the baby boomers, in that group of people, and people looking for a particular kind of holiday, a particular kind of cruise holiday that's not, with no disrespect to big ships, which is where I've spent my career, which is not a big ship experience. Big ships are great, small ships are great, but I think we're seeing a movement of people moving into that smaller ships scope and settling in there and finding their rhythm in the small ship space that perhaps would have cruised elsewhere in the past.
Sure, okay. What are luxury cruise customers looking for and expecting these days, and how is Silversea responding to their wants and needs?
I think they expect the basics, but nice basics. So our guests on Silversea come on board expecting great food, great wines, champagne, great service, great accommodation. And then then you layer on the destinations. It's the combination of the destinations and the service and food and beverage offering that really really decides which cruise line you want to belong to. I think because we're so unique in offering the broadest range of destinations, over 1,000, more than any other cruise line, big ship or small ship. Add together the great food, service, and wine, and Manfredi and Antonio's original DNA of all suite, all with butler service. When you add all that together, that makes Silversea very successful.
Yeah, okay. Last year, Silversea launched Project Invictus. Can you explain exactly what this is and how far along you are with it?
So we are just over a year into Invictus, and it was an initiative as part of our partnership with Royal Caribbean, who acquired 2/3 of us middle of last year. There's two parts to Invictus, is how I describe it. First of all is the hardware, and the second part is the software. If we look at the hardware for a moment, that's the ship itself. And we've been investing heavily as part of Invictus in upgrading the hardware to bring those older ships up to the standards of the new ships, the flagship, for example, Silver Muse. So it's upgrading the cabins, the bathrooms, the public rooms, and making them look like Muse, or we called it Museification. That's the hardware piece. The software piece is investing in particularly food and beverage, so upgrading the food and beverage range on board the ship. There's 3 C's that we've upweighted on board Silversea last year: caviar, champagne, and canapes. But there's a lot of other things in there as well. The meat offering, the seafood buffet offering, fresh flowers, and all those good things that come together that might in singularity mean very little, but in totality mean a great deal to our guests. And Invictus has been going for a year, and it's a significant multi-million-dollar investment on behalf of the brand by Royal Caribbean. But we put our money where our mouth is, and the results have been extremely good. We look at our NPS scores of this year, same ship, but with Invictus versus last year without Invictus. The scores are up significantly. Can't say by exactly how much, but they are up significantly to emphasise to us the need that we needed to do it, and we've given ourselves a huge pat on the back for doing it as well.
Oh, excellent. Which destinations are hot right now for Silversea?
Well, as I said, we got over 1,000 destinations. So every destination is hot for us, and we're always trying to find new destinations, new combinations of destinations. For me, I think if I just hone down to us locally, we're certainly trying to promote Asia more than we have in the past, and then locally with more close-to-home cruises on both the classic and the expedition ships. For example, our new sub-Antarctica cruises from New Zealand down to Macquarie Island and to the Ross Sea. That's a hot destination for me at the moment.
Okay. And how have shore excursions evolved of late, and what are some of the latest trends there?
Well, as I was saying earlier, with the slight change in demographic, with moving from the silent generation who, would go on the city tour and look out the window at life in another country, baby boomers want to get off the bus and they want to meet local people, talk to local people, eat in local restaurants, eat in local people's houses. So we have seen a significant shift in the types and range of onshore experiences that we have to provide, because we still have to provide it all. So, and we are providing it all, but you'll get 10 people get off a cruise ship, and 2 will go and do the city tour, 4 will get in a car and go with a local guide and have a really in-depth and people-to-people authentic experience. And how many have I got left? 4. 4 will go off and just wander independently into town, have lunch in a cafe, and go and see the museums and wander back on the ship in time for sailing.
Oh, nice. Let's have a quick chat about Silversea's future. It's obviously set for some exciting times ahead, particularly in 2020. Can you tell us about some of the plans in place for new vessels and some fleet upgrades?
Sure. Well, our current tagline we're using is 25 years, but we're just getting started. We've got on order now, we have 5 brand new ships on the order books to be delivered in the next 5 years, which is unprecedented. Rate of growth for our business. Next year we have not one, not two, but 3 new ship projects. 2 of them are brand new, and one of them is a rework of an existing ship. Let me just talk about the 2 new ships. Silver Origin is our first one in July. She's our first ever expedition new build ship. She'll go to the Galapagos and be based there year round, purpose built for Galapagos cruising. And secondly, Silver Moon, which is a larger passenger ship, sister ship to Silver Muse, 596 passengers. She will launch 1 month later in August in Italy.
Okay, and let's talk some more about Silver Origin as well. You talked briefly about the ship. She looks like a very special one. What will make her stand out in the Galapagos?
Well, she is without doubt going to be the best and most luxurious ship available in the Galapagos. She will offer 50 cabins, 100 guests. Sorry, we don't say the C word. 50 suites. 50 suites, 100 guests. Very contemporary look and feel, but still maintaining that Italian contemporary interior design. And she's been purpose-built for the Galapagos. Lots of glass walls in the public areas and in the balconies for the ships to give you that connection to the destination. It really is a phenomenal-looking ship. And you should go on our website to have a look at her, look at the images of what that ship's going to look like. She will revolutionise cruising in the Galapagos. Okay,
excellent. And Silver Moon is a sister ship of Silver Muse. Many agents will have seen her last summer during her inaugural season here in Australia. What will be different about Silver Moon compared to Silver Muse?
The spelling. She will. You know, like all cruise lines that order a couple or 3, 4 ships in the same class. The second in the class is always an evolution of the first, and we learn a lot from a new ship class. The first, the prototype and the first of the fleet. And we've watched and observed and listened to guest feedback from guests on Muse, and she's doing phenomenally well. But there are some areas that we're going to tweak, and they are really just tweaks. We're not altering the core DNA of the ship. We're moving a couple of restaurants around on the ship. Is one change. We're enlarging the spa and the thalassotherapy pool at the back of the ship. But the big new concept for Silver Moon, which is really an ecosystem, is SALT, S-A-L-T, and that is an ecosystem of 4 different parts. One is a new main restaurant called Salt Kitchen. Then there's a bar next door called Salt Bar. And then next door to that is the Salt Lab, a cooking demonstration facility. And then ashore are Salt excursions, taking you off the ship and giving you a food and beverage experience off the ship. And Salt is all about bringing the local destination, the food and wine of the local destination on shore to the ship in all 4 of those areas. So wherever you're cruising, the menu will reflect the local meals, ingredients, beverages of that specific destination, and the menu will move as the ship moves throughout the world. And it's unique. I don't think anyone else is doing it today. We're really excited about it because it just adds that further element, that further icing on the cake of our guests who are looking to go deeper authentically into the destination that they're cruising.
Okay, excellent. Well, look, I have more questions to ask you, but I might bring in Steve now so we can have a chat about some of the things for agents and how they can get better at selling Silversea. So, Steve,
let's bring him in.
Yeah, like to join us. I believe you two know each other.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, Steve. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
We have met before.
6 weeks in, just met him.
Very good. So, Steve, you've only joined Silversea how long ago?
About 6 weeks ago.
Okay,
yeah.
and what was behind your decision to join the team?
Yeah, look, really exciting opportunity to come on board with this team. I've been in the industry quite a long time, and firstly, the brand has such a strong reputation in the industry, 25 years of delivering a beautiful quality product. So that's one of the enticing reasons to come on board. But as Adam's mentioned, all the change that's coming with Project Invictus and all the other enhancements to the brand, making the brand better and stronger, was just a real lure for me to come in and be a part of that journey.
Yep. Okay. I understand you're now heading up an expanded sales team since you joined. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Look, really exciting to be part of a big team, probably the biggest team in the industry in that space. About 10 in the sales department, 7 BDMs on the road, inside sales staff. So we've got plenty of staff out there helping the trade, supporting them, growing each other's business. We've also increased the reservations team as well, so agents can call through really easily, straight through, very little hold, wait times if any at all, straight through, simple booking, away we go. So really making life very easy for the trade.
Okay, excellent. And what are the key selling points of Silversea? What sets it apart from other cruise lines?
Yeah, look, obviously our first one, Adam's already alluded to that before, and what we're most proud of is a number of destinations that we go to. So 1,000 destinations across all 7 continents is truly amazing. I mean, there's every single corner of the earth that we touch, with our ships, every ocean, every sea, and it's something we're very proud of. We are a travel company, a cruise line, and we go everywhere. So that's really exciting. And I think the second thing is the service on board. Adam mentioned as well before about every suite has a butler, and with a guest ratio of nearly 1 to 1, when you combine the butlers and the 1-to-1 staff ratio, we've got a lot of personalised, intimate service there that really no one else in the industry can match.
Okay. What are some of the benefits for agents who sell Silversea?
Yeah, look, the first thing is obviously, the money. We're all in this game to make money, and the commission is very, very high. We pay above average commission rates across the industry with an average commission return of about $2,500. So you're talking a high yield product, all inclusive, so that obviously equals a very good commission return for the agent. And I think the second big one as well is our guest satisfaction scores have been off the charts lately. Adam's already mentioned, the new ships and so forth. So we give the agents great confidence to know that they can put their client on one of our Silversea experiences, our ships, and the client's going to have an amazing experience, come back to them, want to book another Silversea hopefully, or any other product that the travel agent sells. So it's really helping them get that repeat business back into their travel agency.
Sure, okay. What tips can you offer agents on getting a client over the line when they're unsure about whether or not to give Silversea a try?
Yeah, I think how I'd approach this in the beginning is obviously setting the small ship cruising concept. So it's a very unique concept where it's small, it's luxury, under 600 passengers, so it's very easy to get on and off the ship. There's no queues. The ships can navigate into places that bigger ships can't get into. We go under Tower Bridge, we dock right at the Tower of London, right into St. Petersburg. Other ships are hours out of these areas. So we rarely get into those intimate places in the world. So you combine that with the all-inclusive style on board. All your beverages, all your luxury meals. That's the great concept of small ship cruising. And then you bring in obviously the Silversea benefits on top of that. The fact that we'll have an itinerary that this guest has never been before or seen those kind of destinations, and a service, like I said before, that's unmatched in the industry.
Sure, okay. What are some of the new destinations or itineraries that Silversea's offering at the moment?
Yeah, the really exciting one, Huntley, is this World Expedition Cruise going in January 2021. So first time a cruise line's ever done a World Expedition Cruise. Really exciting. It's going to go 167 days, 107 ports, 30 countries. You'll start in Argentina, go down to Antarctica, across the equator, and then right up to the North Pole. So incredibly exciting itinerary, and really very, very unique. And there's been a lot of great interest when we first launched this, and I'm expecting it to sell very, very well. Okay.
Now, we've got a bit of double indulgence here today for our agents who are tuning in the way of incentives, courtesy of Silversea. Look, we'll be revealing more in just a little bit at the end of the webinar, but Steve, I'll just get you to tell us a bit about what these incentives are.
Yeah, look, 2 exciting incentives obviously to launch here. We spoke about the Muse that came out last summer, so she's coming back again this summer, and we want to offer agents a chance to get on board and sail around Australian waters. So the first incentive is for people listening live at the webinar today. When it finishes, they'll have a chance to write 25 words or less about why they would sell Silversea to their client. We'll then draw 5 lucky winners out, and they'll take a 2-night cruise on Silver Muse from Melbourne to Sydney. So that's 5 of you out there, all the best. And then the second chance, if you don't win that one, there's another chance, which we're launching a national trade-wide incentive. So those that are watching the recording now, you'll obviously be in the chance for this as well. From the 2nd of September through the 29th of November, you just need to sell 3 Silversea cruises to the Mediterranean for 2020, which is one of our our key backyards that we really own that Mediterranean Sea. So 3 cruises there. The first 10 that do that are going to be coming on board the Silver Muse, getting on the 31st on New Year's Eve in Melbourne, watching the fireworks burst off out of the city as the ship pulls out of port there, cruises up the east coast, southeast coast of Australia, through the heads into Sydney Harbour. So 10 lucky agents and their partners will be able to enjoy that as well. So all up 15 agents will be going on those cruises.
Okay, excellent. And just while we're on Silver Muse, maybe Adam, I'll just get you to comment on what guests you think like most about the ship.
On Muse, I think the first thing that guests talk to me about is the range of dining. So 8 restaurants on a ship of that size, of a 590 passenger ship, is unprecedented. So whilst they enjoy the familiarity of the main dining venues, they enjoy being able to go to the Italian, to the Japanese, to the Hot Rocks Grill, to the pizzeria. So having that choice and flexibility, casual, informal, formal, that's what really guests talk to me a lot about.
Sure, okay. And Steve, will Silversea have more details to share on the Kimberley product soon?
Yes, so Kimberley, we're going back into the market in 2021 with the Silver Explorer, which is going to come out of refurb, be a beautiful new polished vessel out in the Kimberley. It's going on sale in October this year, so very exciting to get back into the Kimberley. Very popular destination for Australians. Great expedition product as well, very immersive with Zodiac experiences to get ashore into those really remote parts of the Kimberley.
Okay.
So as we've been doing the last few launches, we give trade actually advance notice of the deployment. We'll have that out probably in late September, and then our Venetian Society members get 2 weeks advance booking before we open it to the general public in early October.
Okay, excellent. So I guess before we wrap up, because we've kind of extended our time, I think, here. We could keep chatting all day. But,
we're just getting started.
Well, we can keep going after this. But let's just remind people who are tuning in about the incentive, or the incentives. I believe they have a chance to win an indulgent 2-day cruise on Silver Muse this summer. That's right, yep. And what do they have to do to enter?
So to enter, you'll receive an email after the webinar, giving you the instructions, but basically you need to tell us in 25 words or less why you'd sell Silversea Cruises to one of your customers. Okay, excellent. And I believe, again, Steve, we've got the National Trade Incentive coming up in September.
That's really exciting. If you haven't got any plans for New Year's Eve, Huntley, it's a great opportunity to get on board down in Melbourne. Like I said, watch the fireworks out of one of the great cities in Australia, and the cruise is going to actually, on the stroke of midnight, start backing out of the port and cruise around southeast Australia and through the heads into Sydney, on everyone's bucket list to cruise into Sydney Harbour. So great opportunity to have 3 nights at sea, over a time when most people are on annual holidays anyway.
Okay. And everything's included, right?
Of course,
so all your food, all your beverages, including the champagne for New Year's and for the rest of the cruise, all included in that.
And caviar and canapes as well.
And those as well.
Those.
Excellent. Well, Adam, Steve, thank you guys so much for joining me on the couch today. And thank you too for those tuning in today. We really appreciate you giving your time on a busy afternoon. We'll share a recording of this webinar afterwards, along with some support material and collateral that's been mentioned by Steve and Adam today. We'll also provide you with a video introduction to the whole Silversea Australia sales team, so you can become more familiar with who you'll be working with in the future. And don't forget, for your chance to win, a chance to win the Silversea Cruise Muse deal, you've basically got to send in 25 words or less to Nicole, that's NICOLLE, at travelweekly.com.au by close of business this Friday, which is the 23rd of August, and we'll be announcing the winner next week in our Travel Weekly newsletter. So we hope you found this webinar useful, and thanks for tuning in.
Thank you, everyone.